All right. So we have people coming in now. Hi, everyone.
All right, should we get going?
Oh, we have a couple. Oh, Martin, hi. I think you're the one is that a raise hand or like an emoji? No clue, but hi. Okay, yeah, Mark, go for it.
All right, well, welcome everybody. It's good to see you all in here. If you can do me a massive favor, as you are coming in, can you just please go and drop a hi in the chat? Let me know where you're tuning in from around the world. Norman, hello to you. Let us know where you are again around the world. It's awesome to see so many people. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be walking you through how to crack the code, how to get to 65% direct bookings. Also, as well, we're joined by PriceLabs today, which is fantastic. This will be recorded. If you've got any questions, we will try and do as much Q&A at the end. But if we fail to answer your Q&A, then obviously we'll share all the links on how you can keep the conversation going afterwards. We're going to look to run this for an hour max, because she just got to do things after this, and I've got school runs to do. So it's going to be on the hour. So again, we really appreciate you tuning in live with us. We want to make sure that everybody that does tune in live gets the majority from this. And again, if you've got questions, we want to try and answer as much as possible. So we have got a worldwide room. We've got Scotland, we've got Texas, Florida, Minnesota, Maryland, people from all over, which is great. Derbyshire, great to see. So my name is Mark Simpson. Let me just go to the next slide. My name is Mark Simpson. I'm a founder of a company called Boostly. I've been doing this for 10 years. My mission and my goal is to help as many hosts as possible get to 65% direct bookings. Founded Boostly 10 years ago, and it's all about giving hosts just like you the tools, the tactics, the training, but most importantly, the confidence to get more bookings without relying on the OTAs. Quick question from me before I let Shrija introduce herself and PriceLabs. Just out of interest, how many of your bookings are direct? It can be 0%, it can be 100%. I would love to know from the people in the room that are here, from Beth to Susan, how many of your bookings are direct? So Shrija, would you like to introduce your good self?
Yes, thank you so much, Mark. Hi, everyone. I'm Shrija, and I'm currently handling partnerships and field marketing at PriceLabs. And before this, I was the chief of staff for marketing initiatives here. I don't have as much of an impressive resume as Mark right here. Been around in the SDR industry for about 2 years, and then I've done a bunch of tech startups, e-commerce, and the sort. Really excited to be doing this right now. And just like Mark, I think my follow-up question will be, how many of you are already using a dynamic pricing? And I think how many listings do you all have? So if you could just drop that after you answer Mark's question, that would be great.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to keep things moving quick. We're going to keep things moving very fast as we go through this, because like I said, we've got about 30 slides that we want to get through. But before we go in, we've given you that 6-step roadmap. What I want to do is I just want to very quickly walk everybody through where we are right now. So the problem. So this is where we are in the industry. And again, I asked a question before, how many bookings are direct? And again, it doesn't matter at all what your answer is. If it's 0%, 1%, even if it's 100%, what I want for you all to do and let you know is that by tuning into here and by being with PriceLabs and myself, we're hopefully going to give you that confidence that you can start to make a dent into it. Now, this is the problem, is that the prediction by 2030, so in the next 5 years, 80% of all bookings will be via the OTAs, so Airbnb, Expedia, Vrbo. And the reason why that is a problem is that if we continue the way that we are currently going, is that we are in an issue where this industry can be Amazoned. And what do I mean by that? Well, in 2017, 15% of all bookings were made via Airbnb. At the end of 2024, 62% of all short-term rental bookings were made via Airbnb. So in such a short space of time, not only have they caught up with Booking.com and the Verbo or the Expedia group have actually overtaken them. And now they're on track to monopolize this. And the reason why I put Amazon down is because in 2022, I published my first ever book. It's called The Book Direct Playbook. If anybody's read it, please let me know in the chat. It's done really, really well, more than I ever thought it would ever do. It sold over 150,000 copies. People all over the world have picked it up. It's on Kindle, it's on print, it's on Audible. So that's the good. The bad thing is that when I sell a copy of this book on Amazon, for every dollar that I sell, Amazon takes 66 cents. So they take 66% commission. And not only that, but I don't know who buys the book. So I don't get the name, I don't get the email, I don't get the phone number, I get nothing. And unfortunately, I didn't have any other choice, because Amazon have absolutely monopolized the e-commerce industry, especially books. And so the reason why I tell you that story is that my prediction is that Airbnb want to become the Amazon of the world of hospitality. And they're well on track of it. Like I said, 62% of all short-term rental bookings over the course of 2024, 62% of them were on Airbnb. Now, like I said, this is not me slating Airbnb. I think their story is phenomenal, how they started from just a couple of guys in an apartment in San Francisco to where they are now. But there really is a risk here. And before we go into the tips, let me just sort of dial it out a little bit. So when you start a hospitality business, so whether you've been doing this for a year, 6 months, 2 years, 10 years, there's all these plates that you've got to spin, okay? One of the plates is obviously marketing and sales, also known as how am I going to get revenue into my business? Now, there is no other industry out there like hospitality. And because of that, there's no other industry that I know, and please tell me if I'm wrong, that you can start a business yesterday, take a couple of pictures yesterday, upload your details onto a couple of websites, and pretty much guaranteed to be getting revenues and bookings in. That's what we have with Airbnb, Booking.com, and Verbo. We're very lucky in that retrospect, just because we're in an industry that is so in demand. Now, the blessing is that it's so easy to get bookings coming in, right? When I started Boostly 10 years ago, there wasn't a website that I could go put Boostly on and put a couple of pictures on and be guaranteed to get revenue in. I had to build a brand. I had to drag people kicking and screaming when I first started doing what I do at Boostly. The problem, though, is because that plate that is spinning and spinning, and you can just go, it's okay, Airbnb have got this. The problem is when that stops spinning, okay? And when that plate stops spinning, then that's when the issue happens. And unfortunately, I see it so much. And you may have seen these in Facebook groups, you may have seen it on social media, but hosts are stopping getting bookings on Airbnb for loads of reasons. Number one, they could just had a couple of really bad guests, a couple of bad reviews, and their listing is no longer visible. Number two, it could be a little bit more sinister. Airbnb could decide to shut down your listing for no reason. Just last week, I had a host come to me and say that their account was shut down because a guest complained of a camera in the property. Now, obviously, cameras in properties is not allowed. That's in part of the T's and C's. But this camera in question was one of those Ring doorbell cameras, which is absolutely allowed. But because of the way that Airbnb now is, and it's such a massive company, it has got either robots that are making decisions or people that aren't very good at what they do, and they're automatically siding with the guest. Now, that host has to wait for what could be 6 weeks to get their listings back online. And unfortunately for this host, they are 100% reliant on Airbnb. They're doing the rent-to-rent model, the arbitrage, the subleasing model, and they've got bills to pay. And they're really struggling right now on what they're going to do next. And unfortunately, that's a common occurrence. And I've just known people that are, like I say, so reliant, but their listings are getting shut down or accounts suspended totally. So that's the problem. And, I've seen and I've asked the numbers in here, what percentage of your bookings are coming from direct and what are coming from the OTAs. What I would love for you to answer now, everybody, is if your Airbnb account was suspended or shut down or closed or deleted, what would that do to your business? Would it be 1, panic, 2, it'd be hard, but I'd get on by, or 3, I think one of you put 90% direct bookings. You're going to be absolutely fine. So is it one, I'd absolutely panic. Two, it'd be difficult, but I'd get on by. Number three, it would be, I'd be all right because I've got all these other avenues that I'm doing. Okay, so havoc, 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 get on by, havoc, havoc. So, okay, so this is why we do this. And again, I assume that everybody that is tuning into this webinar today, because you want to not panic, not be havocing. And that plate that's spinning, that's all around Airbnb, I assume that you would like that plate instead to be a spread out. Now, again, this webinar is not to slate Airbnb, right? In any way, shape, or form. What I want to do is I want to help you as much as possible go from just relying on one platform to have multiple revenue streams coming into your business. Because at the end of the day, if you can have multiple revenue streams coming into your business, you know, Airbnb, Verbo, Booking.com, Direct, even Direct has its own offshoots, Facebook, Google, SEO, email, etc. Now, the goal with this is not to overwhelm you. What we're going to do between Shidra and I is to give you a 6-step roadmap, a kind of a blueprint that you can follow. And if you can follow this strictly, religiously, over a course of time, then you will get to a point where when I ask you that question, it'll be free, where you go, I'm all right. I don't mind if my Airbnb account gets shut down. So if that sounds good to you, if you feel like that's going to be a valuable hour of your time, just give me a hashtag yes in the chat. That's all I need. I just want to know that what we've cooked up and what we've put together between Cedra and I is something that will be beneficial to you. Fantastic. We've got yeses and let's go. So number one. Now, again, what I do recommend every single one of you is get pen and papers ready, because I'm going to be giving you, between us, we're going to give you a lot of information. The good news is, like we said, this is being recorded. If you miss anything or if I speak too fast, and you'll be able to watch this back afterwards. Okay. Questions will be at the end. Please make sure that if a question comes to mind, that you save them. When we ask at the end, you'll be able to ask those questions. Okay, let's get going. So number one is know your avatars. Now, avatar is very simple marketing talk for your ideal guest. Okay. So your ideal client. Now, when we talk about avatars, this is basically what we're looking to do here, especially if you want to grow your business to be 65% direct bookings, is that you want to have an ideal client in mind. And something that I learned a long time ago is that you want to bury yourself so far down in a niche is that there is room for nobody else. Now, when a lot of people hear that for the first time, they panic because they instantly think about everybody over here that they're not appealing to. But the truth is that if you try and appeal to everybody, you will appeal to nobody. So what I really, really recommend that you do, doesn't matter whether you've got 1 property, 2 properties, 10 properties, 100 properties, is look at where you're located in the world. Look at the properties that you have under your portfolio and try and figure out very, very quickly, A, who is your property ideal for? B, what do you have inside your property that is ideal to that person? And C, where and why do those people come to your area? So a good scenario and a good way of describing this would be, let's just say that I've got me personally, I've got 4 properties. My properties are right on the beach, okay? My area, my town, my location is well known for surfing. The surf there is unbelievable. People travel from all over the country to come to that location. I've got 4 properties that are on the beach, and every single one of those properties are decked out for surfers, okay? My niche is going to be people who want to come for surf. My avatar is surfers, okay? So my marketing is going to be all about speaking to people coming to surf. My Airbnb listing, my direct booking website, my social media, my emails, everything that I do is catered for that. I wouldn't be trying to cater to people who are looking for come for a city break because it's totally a different avatar. Now, what's really important with this is that as you grow, you're going to have more than one avatar that comes to mind. So you're going to have your avatar for your guests, 100%. Number 2, you're going to have a property avatar as well. Now, just very quickly, just remind me, everybody, how many properties do you currently have in your portfolio, whether it's owned, managed, rent to rent, etc.? Because I do this for multiple different types. Okay, cool. So for yous, it's okay. Now for Elena, which is 12. Now, I know a lot of people that do the management model and they could have anywhere between 6 to 12 or 10, 20 properties. Now, when you do the management model, it normally your career goes like this. You have one property, it could be yours, it could be your family members, it could be your friends, and you're doing the co-host model. And then because you're doing a good job, a friend of a friend comes to you and says, hey, you're doing good. I have a property. Can you take it on? And because you're young, because you're scrappy, because you're getting started, you say yes to everything. And before you know it, another friend comes to you and says, hey, can you take mine? Then a recommendation comes into you. You say yes. You never stop to think of the properties that you're taking on. And before you know it, you've got 10 properties. Now, the problem with that is because you say yes to everything, then there's going to be properties in your portfolio that don't fit your niche and your avatar. And again, coming back to the beach description, if you've got 4 properties on the beach that are ideal for surfers, everything is catered for surfers, but then you've got 2 properties that are on the total other end of town, they don't look anywhere near the beach or sea, and it's a total different demographic, then those 2 are the ones that are basically not fitting in with your brand. And what I advise every single one of you, you may have had to do this in the past, or you may have to do this coming up, but you're going to have to look at your properties. And if there's a couple of properties that don't fit the niche that you're going to go down, then do not be afraid to say no to them. As you grow in your business journey, then saying no will open up more yeses. And that's really important. And then the other avatar where you're going to go down is homeowners. Again, if you're doing the management model or the arbitrage model, especially management, when you do management model, you feel like you've got all these bosses, right? You feel like you've got, say, 10 bosses if you've got 10 different management. There will be some people that just do not fit your personality type. The type that when you see the message come in from them, you literally go, oh, and you shudder. Again, don't be afraid of saying no and ending your agreement with them, as long as it's done amicably and nicely. Because again, sometimes saying no will basically help open up better yeses. So that's what I really want you encourage you to do. Now, here's my question to everybody. And again, you've been really good so far. If I was to say, who is your avatar guest? Who would you say it is? And while I'm saying that, to give you a bit of context, is that there's going to be some of you that have properties, say, in one city, and then you've got properties in another city way over here. They're a different demographic. I 100% understand. So when you're doing this exercise, do it with one property in one city. And then once you've nailed that, then move on to another location. Especially now in America, you love the model where you live, say, in New York, but all your properties are in Florida. I speak to you all the time, so that's absolutely fine. So just to give a bit of context for those who are watching this back on the replay, Beth's is race fans and families. That sounds awesome. Julie, multi-generation family stays. Norman, family members. Nicole, families. Elena is families. Joanne, trendy RT retirees. Love that. Guy, mountain bike ski families. Martin, free generation families. Susan, families and fishermen. Love that. More specifically, travel-based families. Dominique, people who want a city event at church, either come into a town or a concert or sports game. Michael, we have high-end wedding venue nearby, so we have lots of groups that have family or wedding parties. Now, this, Michael, leads me nicely over to point number 2, which is your network is your net worth. And I can't stress this enough. You know, I've been doing this for a long, long time now. 10 years of Boostly, and before that, I was at the family business, well, since I was born, but full time since 2011. The more that I go down this route of business, I know it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? And I used to think with my egotistical hat on that I was like the best of the best. When I really look back at it, every single enhancement that I've had, whether it's in my family business, the granary, or with Boostly, is because of the network that I have got. So at the end of the day, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And the reason why I put this in is that you've got to start building out your network where your properties are. There's an expression that's called the go-to. So becoming the go-to guy or the go-to girl. And what that basically means is that when somebody asks a question, for example, if somebody goes online now after doing Boostly for so long and direct bookings. If you go into any Facebook group and somebody asks, who do you recommend for a direct booking website? I am very lucky that over the last 10 years and all the work that we've put in for this is that at least one person in the comments will mention Boostly. And it was the exact same thing that we did at the family business for the granary, because number one, we knew exactly who our avatar were. We knew exactly who we appealed to. And then this next step that I'm going to show you showed how we did this. So, Michael, it's really interesting that you talked about that your properties are near a wedding venue. When we had the family business, one of the first things that I set out to do was to find out where our guests who stayed with us were going for day trips. So just to give a bit of context, our family business was a 200-acre farm stay property. It had 3 holiday cottages and it had 14 bedrooms. So we had a lot of guests coming to us every single year. And I set out to find out where they go on day trips, because I'm not naive enough to think that the guests, when they come and stay with us, they never leave. They like to go out and have day trips. And one of the places that I noticed that they were going, I'd say probably 3 in every 10 guests were going to this other farm for a day trip. It was like an open farm where you can go and feed baby lambs and you can go and, you know, ride on tractors and all that cool stuff. And what I did is I called the owner and I said, just so you're aware, a lot of our guests are coming to visit you. We're literally passing him free leads, free marketing, free business. And I said, is there a discount code or a voucher code that we could give to our guests when they come and visit you? And he was 100% all in. Why would he not? Because we're giving him free leads, get free customers. And over the year, he would collect up these coupons. And at the end of the year, I went to go and see him. And he had this mound of coupons that had come from us. And he said, listen, Mark, if ever your family wants to come and visit here, you've never got to pay. Great, win, because I've got 4 kids. They love going. And then the second cool thing was this, is that he started to do weddings. He turned a part of his farm into a wedding venue, but his farm didn't have accommodation. Okay. And as you can imagine, just like Michael, I assume, is that the bride and the groom, when they're trying to book a wedding, they were asking him, where do you recommend for places, people to stay that are coming in from out of town? And can you guess who he would recommend? Who can guess in the chat? You're right. Me and our family business. And so what we did is we went out and we made a couple of relationships like this around town. And the cool thing about weddings is that when they book months in advance. They're all direct. And they pretty much filled up our calendar. Sometimes they filled it up in really good times as well. And another example of this, and I don't know if you do this or not, but on a Friday morning, every Friday for a year, I signed up to go to what's called a BNI, which is a Business Network Institute. BNI meetings are a worldwide organization. I don't know if you go to them or not, but where I say BNI, you can substitute that to business networking. And I would go to these events. And the cool thing about the BNI is that when you go, they've got a no compete clause in there. So I would go as the only hospitality brand. And every Friday we would meet up, you have like a breakfast, you have a chat, you stand up, you talk about what you've been working on and who you'd like to speak to. For 5 months, every Friday, nothing happened. I was starting to doubt if this was going to be the right move or not. And then in month 6, there was a new guy who appeared. And he had just started in the town. He'd been part of a massive organization that was about to open up a local mine, like a potash mine. And he was looking for accommodation for all of his workers that were flying in from all over the world to be at. And literally from me being in that room, we got chatting. And from me being in that room, he was able to fill up our winter months. So in Scarborough, where we were based, the winter months there, nobody travels. Nobody travels in the winter months. So we call it the shoulder season. I don't know if you call it the same. And we were able to fill up our shoulder months through this company in itself, but also as well, I was able to recommend other accommodation owners in the towns that are nearby to us, and they also filled up, and I was able to get a little bit of cut and a referral fee for each one. So we made money off the guests, but we also made money by doing referrals. So this is why I say your network is your net worth. So, and I can totally understand, depending on your personality type, you know, if you're outgoing, this is made for you. If you're a bit of an introvert, trust me, give it a go. Even if you just do it online instead of offline, it's 100% worth it. Okay, so we're going to fly through. So now we're going to go on to number 3, which is your website is key. Again, I think everybody in the room here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 properties, etc. You may be not at that time in your career that you want to maybe look at a website, but I cannot stress this enough, is that your website is your online business card. All the work and attention that you do to setting up your property to be ready to rent out on Airbnb, etc. When you launch, you need to put that same attention into your website. You can't just put together a crappy, cheap $100 website on Fiverr, because when you buy cheap, you buy twice. And I can't stress this enough. And the elephant in the room is that Boostly does website design, right? But there's a reason why we do it, is that when I started 10 years ago, there was nobody putting together websites that actually looked good and worked. So that is 100% crucial and key. And again, we haven't got time in this webinar. If you want my advice on how you can structure your website to be as perfect as possible, my second book, which is over here, it's called the Book Direct Blueprint. There's actually a chapter from PriceLabs in here as well, which is very cool. The Book Direct Blueprint, there's a chapter in here of the 35 ways to structure the perfect website. Okay, number 4. We want to move on because next I want Shrija to come in. So number 4 is call your guests. Okay, I cannot stress this enough. Actually, let's do a quick little roll call in the chat. Who at the moment is picking up the phone and calling your guests? Give me a yes or a no. And I'm not talking about automated messaging. I'm not talking about emails. I'm talking picking up the phone. Now, I would really, really, really recommend that you start doing this. And the reason being is this, is that we're coming to an age with AI, automation, workflows, where everybody is just wanting to try and make this a passive income job, right? This is not passive income, all right? I believe solely and truthfully, the reason why people book with us as hosts is because of the hospitality vibe. And there's going to become a point in time, whether it's this year or next year, where any digital message that you get, you will not know if it's from a human or from a robot. Okay. So I believe that if you can start doing this, you will win. And there's a couple of ways that you will win. Number 1, the way that the guests are booking at the moment, and this is not from data, I haven't got the data that PriceLabs have got on this, but this is just my feeling at the moment, is that when a guest books, they are booking 1 or 2 places at the same time. And what they're doing is they're going to see which one is the best one and stick with the one that they like and cancel the other. It used to happen a lot to us at the family business, and that's why we started doing it. And I've seen so many of our members now use this tactic, and it is working. So if you can pick up the phone, if someone's booked a few, and if you can pick up the phone instantly and speak to your future potential guest, then you instantly zig when everybody else is zagging. You look to your guest like, wow, this person has taken time out of their day to call me. And again, it's not to sell, it's not to do anything because you've already got the booking. It's just to confirm the reservation, thank them from doing custom with you, and just say to look out for some email confirmations that are coming. So the way that a normal conversation would go, it would be, hey, Michael, this is Mark calling from Boostly B&B. Thank you so much for the reservation. Just to confirm, you're all booked in for these dates. Again, if you've got any questions, this is our contact information. Feel free to reach out. We'll be in contact with you closer towards your stay. But then at that point, you can say, do you have any questions? Is there anything I can help you with? So that's it. That's literally it. So it's just making it a real nice customer service. The second call will be 24 hours after you check in. Okay, so then again, at that point, once they've checked in, the first night can go 1 or 2 ways. They either love it, everything is laid out, you've clearly instructed where everything is, or there could be issues. If there's issues, the best time to solve it is right at the very start. And this is why I like to do it after the check-in, because if you leave it and if you wait, by the time they check out, if there's that little issue, that will nag at them, naggle at them. So when they come to leave that review, they'll mark you down for it. So if you can look to solve any issues that there are instantly after check-in, then again, it'll be resolved. You'll get that 5-star review. And then the final one is after checkout. So the final one, 24 hours after checkout, as long as everything's gone well, they've left the place in a nice state, that little call 24 hours after the checkout is phenomenal, because again, you can thank the customer for staying with you. You can say, hey, listen, if you ever want to come back again, you can book direct with us. This is how you can do so. And the final one, which is the one that I love, is ask for a referral. So you're going to say, hey, you know, Adam, you're a fantastic guest. We've loved hosting you. By the way, do you know anybody who is cool as you that would like to come and stay at our property? If so, here's our details. If they book and if they mention you, then we will give you X in return. And X could be anything, Amazon vouchers, bottle of wine, etc. You name it. But by dangling the carrot, they're more likely to do that referral. So again, I've kind of rushed through that. I've got a chapter on this, which is dedicated to calling your guests. That's in the book, that playbook. But again, I really, really recommend it. Now, again, if when you call the guest, if they don't answer or if they say, hey, listen, please don't call, then you know not to call again. But I guarantee you that if you can give it a go, 1 in every 10 bookings or 1 in every 3 bookings, you'll be pleasantly surprised with the results. Okay, we're going to move on. Shrija, are you ready? I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to let you share and then you can continue on if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing.
Yes.
It's all up to you.
I hope everyone's able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
I'm going to go ahead and present. Okay. Just going to also pop up the chat right here. All right. Well, thank you for that, Mark. That was super, super useful. And I know you mentioned it would be interesting to have data about whether or not people book multiple Airbnbs at once. I don't think we do that right now, but that's definitely something I'm going to take back to our product team. But for now, let's talk about the data that's going to be useful to you all as hosts, right? So let's start with understanding what is market data. So I'm going to start with collecting data, processing data, and the third step is about what are we doing with that data, right? With PriceLabs, and I think with most of the market data tools that you'd see out there, what we're doing is we're collecting publicly available data. So what publicly available means is if you're seeing something on Airbnb, and if Airbnb has allowed us to scrape that data point, then we're scraping it. But if it's something that's, let's say, a private data point, or if Airbnb hasn't allowed us to scrape it, then that's not something that we have access to. So typically public data is going to be something like the listing name, reservation data, prices, the description, right? So there's a bunch of all of that data that we're collecting. Today, PriceLabs collects data from Airbnb, Vrbo, and Booking.com. But there's a lot of other tools out there that may have different types of sources that they have. Now, collecting data is just one part of the equation. The next thing is about what we're doing with that data, right? So the first thing is, of course, cleaning up that data, removing any owner blocks, removing any duplicates, removing any kind of muddy data. And then what we're doing is we're mapping it mapping what we're seeing in the future, what we're seeing right now, and we're also seeing what trends we've seen in the past to uncover trends in the market. Now, these trends might be related to seasonality for that specific market, differences in demand patterns, as demand between weekdays and weekends, or demand with respect to specific events. Even demands, I think sometimes demand even changes with respect to whether it's a like a corporate demand market or whether it's a tourist demand market. So things like that. What are the kinds of lengths of stay that we're seeing in the market, and a bunch of other trends that we sort of construe from the data that we have collected. And putting both of these things together gives us a bunch of market data that's going to be super useful to you as a host in making a bunch of decisions, and also mapping your performance. Are you really doing well with respect to the market, or is there something that you need to do to improve? So now with respect to direct bookings, we're going to look at 3 types of setup. The first setup is, let's say you only have your direct booking website, and that's the one that you want to focus on, and that's the only place where people are going to be able to book your property from. The second one is where you have a direct booking website, you are also on booking platforms, and you have connected both of them to a property management system. And the third is where you have a direct booking website, you're also on booking platforms, but your direct booking website is not connected to your property management system, or your booking platforms are also not connected to your property management system. So we're going to look at what you can do in each of these scenarios as it relates to data. So now, scenario number one, you only have your direct booking website, or you're only on, you're basically not using a PMS, or you're not using a dynamic pricing, tool that can work directly with a direct booking website. The number one thing that I'd recommend that you do is to find a tool that gives you a lot of information into your market. PriceLabs has a tool called Market Dashboards, but you find a bunch of them, from other organizations as well. And there is a lot that you can really do with market dashboards or with market data. And I think the crux of the matter is to understand what is the data that's going to speak to you and give you insights that are going to be useful, and what data do you not really need, right? And that's something that's going to be a muscle that you build over time as you dive into data more and more, over time. So to start with, what I'd suggest is first get an overview of the market around your property. With most market data products, you can create a comp set, which is a competitor set of people that you're competing with. So you can actually pick and choose competitors, where you can just sort of say, hey, you know what? Everyone in a 5 kilometer radius or 5 mile radius is my competitor, and so that's my comp set. So get an overview of the market. Now, an overview might look something like, what's the length of stay for the entire market? What were the number of booked nights? What's an average ADR or average daily rate for your market? And so that's going to give you a bird's eye view of your market. The next thing you want to do is understand if there's any seasonality that's specific to your market, because seasonality can differ wildly, whether, depending on where you are situated in the world and what kind of demand you're also catering to. I saw someone that caters to traveling nurses. So again, figure out what is the specific demand for your property and your market. The next thing you want to look at is, how is your market's occupancy looking like? So you want to look at what your market's occupancy was last year and how it's pacing this year, and then you compare it versus your own occupancy. You also want to look at future rates. So, what kind of rates are in your market, which also relates to your average daily rate. And the next thing you also want to see is specifically non-pricing related things that your competitors are doing, such as cancellation policies, amenities. And you can also then go in directly into your competitors' listing sites and see how their photos, their descriptions are laid out. And then you're going to use that information to do something, which will go in the next few slides. But before that, just going to show you a couple of data points that you can look at and how you'd interpret it. So for instance, I was looking at this for, I think, the San Diego market. And what I take away from this slide is that the occupancy for this market is 53.7 today. Last year, as of today, it was 57.6, which means that this year, the market's pacing a little bit lower, but it's not quite as low, right? It's not a significant difference. And I expect the final occupancy for this day to be about 85%. So as a host, there's a couple of things I can do here. I can either drop prices right now to make sure that I beat the market's forecasts. And the other thing that I can also do is I can wait and see if I'm going to be seeing a lot more bookings closer to the date, right? So you can maybe gradually drop your prices instead of drastically dropping them. And then if you see sort of, the pickup in your market increasing over time, then you might want to maybe even bring your prices back up or drop them further. Pickup is essentially what percentage of those bookings have come in the last 30 days. And so 20% of those 53.7% bookings have come in the last 30 days. You can also then go in and see your competitors specifically. For instance, something that you can see here is that the average rate for short-term rentals tends to be in, let's say, the 160, 170-ish range, with this one outlier. But I'm assuming that they need to drop their prices given their poor rating. And then I saw someone with a, I think, midterm rental in the chat. So you can also then filter for midterm rental bookings as well. And then see your competitors. So what you need to do here then is you've done all this market research and you can now manually adjust your prices. So you can manually update prices. So you're essentially a dynamic pricing tool in human form, and so you're not using a tool. So you can do this, adjust your seasonal prices, look at what your length of stay needs to be for different seasons because it likely is not going to be the same. Uh, Review your cancellation policies, any amenities that you need to have based on your market. And finally, continue keeping a tab on your market and your competition to see if there's something you need to do to stay ahead of the curve. The next one is where you have a direct booking website plus booking platforms plus a property management system. In this situation, you can typically, you can actually, in the previous situation, also you can use PriceLabs directly to push prices to your direct booking website. And I think Mark here does a fantastic job of helping you set that up. But in this situation, again, super easy. You just connect your dynamic pricing tool to your property management system. And then if you're using a dynamic pricing tool, whether you're connecting it to your property management system or you're sending rates directly to your direct booking website, all of that market research sort of goes away because that's what your dynamic pricing tool is doing. It's looking at all of that data, coming up with insights that make sense for your specific listing, for your specific aspirations for your property, and coming up with prices that get updated every single day, as well as minimum stays that get updated every single day. And so what essentially this lets you do is you're not always just catching up to the market when you're reviewing data manually, but you have the opportunity to stay ahead of the market, right? Because you are anticipating all of those trends and reacting more than in real time. And so you're staying ahead. The other thing that you can do if you have this kind of a setup is you can promote offers directly on your direct booking website on top of your dynamic prices so that you can offer a lower rate for people that are booking directly with you. And so you encourage more people to book directly rather than through a OTA. The other benefit of using a dynamic pricing and a PMS setup together is that all of your rates get updated automatically, and so you don't really have to go ahead and manually update prices every week or every month. And so that means you also save a lot of time that you can spend instead on following the other steps in Mark's playbook and creating a great guest experience, right? So this is one thing that you can take off of your plate and focus on other parts of scaling your business. And so one thing that I want to also leave you with is even if you're using one of these sorts of automations, you can always keep control of operational decisions. So you can decide whether you want to have a longer or a shorter stay. You can decide whether you want to be aggressive with your pricing or you want to be conservative. And you can also adjust individual dates. So I would recommend that you go ahead and if you look at where you need to exert some control. And so, so that your pricing strategy is a perfect combination of what market data says and what you really want. And the last step where, let's say you have a direct booking website, which is not connected to your property management system, and it's sort of separate, I think is a combination of the first two strategies that we spoke, which is if your PMS is connected, if you have a PMS and it's connected to your booking platforms, you let the dynamic pricing tool or the PMS update prices automatically, and you can either adjust manually on your direct booking website, or you can, if you're using PriceLabs, you can use the API to send prices directly. That's about it from me. I'm gonna popcorn this back to Mark to take you all through the last step. I can't hear you, Mark.
We're coming in to handing over and finishing up this. Please make sure you put all your Q&A. There's a little box below next to chat that says Q&A. Adrian, you've done so, and we'll promise we'll answer that at the end. Any questions that you do have, please. So, but before we finish, I did promise you a 6th tip, and this is the last one from me: sales and marketing. So, like I said right at the very start of this presentation, I said that there is all these plates that you have to spin when you're running a business, and that sales and marketing plate, we've all been relying on Airbnb as an industry. we are all guilty of being reactive, okay, where you wait for a booking to come in. My goal and my ask from everyone here is that for the next 365 days, every day you dedicate it to new business. Now, I'm not going to do the whole Gary V, Alex Hormozy say you have to work 16 hours a day doing this. No, no, no. Just give me 30 minutes. Everybody can find 30 minutes in their day. And if you're going to say to me, Mark, I can't, then you show me your screen time and I show you where you're doing this doom scrolling on TikTok and Instagram, where I'll show you where you can find it. Now, new business can be anything. It could be doing that post on social media. It could be sending that email. It could be trying to connect with another business owner. It could be doing X, Y, or Z, but just dedicate the first 30 minutes of each day that you're working to new business. And if you can do that consistently, and obviously you'd attach it onto avatars, you attach it onto becoming the go-to, become the network, your website, all the things, the data that we've talked about here. If you can attach that all in, then you will be well on your way to 65% direct bookings. Now, just a quick question. Who in here is already doing new business every single day? Who is doing sales and who is doing marketing? I assume there's going to be a lot of no's on that one. The questions that are coming in are great. Now, one thing I will say is that I've got 3 bonus tips. When I was putting together this presentation with PriceLabs, there's 3 other tips that I wanted to get in, but I just couldn't. We would go massively over time. And I know we're getting close to it now. But if you want the 3 bonus tips that I've created, so there's 3 extra tips that I've created, but I couldn't fit into this webinar. All that you need to do, go to instagram.com/Boostly UK, or just go onto Instagram and just go to Boostly UK and message me one word and one word only that is webinar. And then after this presentation, I'll send you over those 3 bonus tips if you want them. Okay, so go to boostly.co.uk, sorry, Boostly UK on Instagram, DM me the word webinar, and then what I'll do is I'll make sure that you get a copy of those 3 extra tips. Okay, now before we finish, I just want to very quickly explain to you what we're doing at Boostly. If anybody has enjoyed anything that I've put down over this last 45 minutes, I want to just let you know how we're helping. And if this sounds good to anybody in here that's already not at Boostly, I know we've got a couple of Boostly members in here, I'm going to give you a link on how you can book a call with my team. So last year in 2024, we tracked over $100 million in direct bookings through all of our websites that we've got live. From all of the tactics and tips, we tracked $100 million, which is great. And that doesn't include when people email or call or SMS to guest to book a stay. This is tracked from our websites. We are the market leaders in website design with over 2,000 members. We've got websites all over the world. In the United States, we've got a presence in every state. The only one state that we haven't got a presence in is North Dakota, but I am reliably informed that nothing happens in North Dakota. On average, our clients generate $59,000 a year through direct bookings, which is a really cool return of investment of 50 times, which is lovely. This is how we do it. So number 1, we do website design that is optimized, integrated with your PMS of choice or whoever you are with. Even if you're not with a PMS, we can set you up a WordPress website that is designed to turn lookers into bookers. Like I said, on the website section, anybody can put a website together for you. I feel our secret sauce is the things you get in the back end. So you get access to a community of hosts like you. We have twice a week coaching calls with myself and Liam Carolyn. We've got educational videos in the Boostly Academy. And what we do is we put together a roadmap that will help you get to 65% direct bookings. And we plug all of that in to a very cool CRM that's got email templates, social media templates, and it just basically gives you everything that you need to be doing on a day-to-day to be doing these sales activities. So we'll try and give you all the tools. This is our promise to you. So we vow to give you the tools, the tactics, the training, and the confidence to be at least 65% direct. So you'll never, ever, ever have to put a 1 in. I want for you, when I ask the question, if I speak to you in a year's time, you'll be free. So 1 is obviously if your Airbnb account got shut down, you'd be havoc. I don't want any havocs. I want it to be, it's all right. I've got direct. We guarantee you that you will at least recoup what you pay to join Boostly. And that's my money back guarantee. And I put my money where my mouth is that I will give you every single penny back plus $200 of my own if you don't recoup and make back what you earn. bearing in mind, on average, our clients are doing $59,000 a year. Boostly, like who are we not for? Basically, Boostly are for people that want to make this a business. They want to do their direct bookings. They don't just want to rely on Airbnb. I feel like everybody in this room who said they want to go direct bookings, I feel like we can help every single one of you. And this is the cool thing. If you book a call 30 hours within the next 30 hours with boostly.co.uk/call, book in a free call with our team, have a chat with them. I want to make sure that we're right for you, but that you're right for us. And if so, we'll give you an exclusive discount. I said to the team at PriceLabs, I wanted to do something really cool. We'll give you a 30% discount as long as you book a call within the next 30 hours. So it's super simple. I'll put it into the group chat here. And please make sure you go and book it. It's a totally free call. We'll have a chat. We'll see if we're right for each other. And if so, we'll lay it all out, have a look at what you're doing and all that good stuff. Martin, the question for the terms, book a call. We'll walk through everything with you. So yeah, I've really, really enjoyed today. If anybody wants to find out more, please do go book a call. If you want, and I can see a lot of people are messaging me on Instagram for those bonus tips. If you want to get those bonus tips, again, just send me the word webinar, DM on Instagram. So that's me. Sergio, do you want to, before we go for the Q&A, just want to go quickly over anything from PriceLabs?
Yes, I'll keep this very, very quick. Do you want me to share my screen, or are you going to go?
I can just tell me to move on. There's only a few you left.
Yes. Okay. All right. I think to the ones that don't know about PriceLabs, we are a dynamic pricing and revenue management tool. And whether if you have a short-term rental, mid-term rental, service department, whatever, we can handle your pricing for you. We are currently pricing 500,000 properties worldwide. It's not 450 anymore. And we're present in 6 languages, just in case you wanted to use it in some other language. Okay, next slide. We have 4 tools. There's the dynamic pricing tool, which I wanted to clarify that if you do use dynamic pricing, PriceLabs does automate prices for you, and it basically how your prices should change with respect to demand and seasonality is handled by PriceLabs. You don't have to go in and make any changes. The tool also updates prices for you every single day. And so that's another added benefit. Portfolio analytics tells you how your listing is performing. Market dashboards is the tool that I spoke about in detail, which gives you a lot of information about the market that you have, that you're in. And Revenue Estimator Pro lets you generate revenue estimates for any rental. What do we have next? Yeah, we have 50,000 customers worldwide. So I think we have a few of them right here. So I hope that you can trust us with your pricing requirements because a lot of hosts around the world do. And finally, we also have an offer that you can use to sign up for PriceLabs. I will also leave the link down in the description. This gives you 15% off for the first 3 months of your dynamic pricing subscription. It's only valid on that product and not on any of the other products, unfortunately. But when you sign up and add a listing, you do get 1 free market dashboard and 2 revenue estimator tokens. So that's about it from about PriceLabs. I'm going to leave the link down below.
Amazing. So we did promise questions, and we've got 3 questions that are in there. If you want to add a question in, just go to the QA box. We've got 7 minutes until we have to leave, so let's answer as many of these as possible. I can do the first one, Shija, with Nicole. So Nicole says that I am a Boostly member. Everyone in the business that crosses my path says it's the best website they've ever seen, which is awesome. I did not realize that I have weekly coaching calls available to me. How do I set that up? So Nicole, thank you very much, first and foremost. All you need to do, go into the Facebook group, our private Facebook group. We have got the calendar in there. You can add the calendar to your Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, and you'll get notified when we have those calls. Just to give you a little heads up, the next one is going to be on Thursday, 7:30 UK. But thank you very much, Nicole. And the second question, Sergio, if you want to do the other question from Nicole, I have a PriceLabs integrated with my platform. Can I rely on it, dynamic pricing, or should I be doing manual check once in a while? Do you want to take that one?
Yes, thanks, Mark. You should be relying on dynamic pricing if it's all set up for you properly. So if you have your base price, minimum price, maximum price, Your minimum stays set up. You don't really need to do anything on PriceLabs yourself, unless there's a specific date that you really want to change the prices for. But otherwise, the algorithm is self-sufficient and takes into account your occupancy, your market's seasonality and demand, and adjusts prices real time.
Fantastic. We have another pricing question by Adrian. Is the pickup percentage always based on the last 30 days, or can you adjust that to be the last 7 or 60 days, for example?
By default, it is the last 30 days on the market dashboard, but you can change it to the last 7 days or the last 14 days. You just need to scroll down to the graph, click on the three dot menu, and then you'll be able to see an option to change it.
Cool. Thank you. So Martin has asked, can you send me your terms for building a website? Martin, if you go ahead, simply book a call with the team. Once you book a call, then everything will be sent to you that you need. And it's the easier way than me even having to try and explain it all on here. So go ahead and book a call, boostly.co.uk/call. And again, just a reminder to everybody, if you book that call in the next 30 hours, then I'll honor a special PriceLabs 30% discount, and just make sure that you say that you came from the webinar when you speak with our team. So there's a question in the actual chat. So I will go there very quickly. So Dominique has said, regarding calling local businesses that my guests are patronizing and asking if I offer a discount code, what if hosts of local businesses are run by huge corporations? How might you suggest a workaround? So ideally, you've got to reverse engineer why people come and stay with us instead of staying with massive hotels, is they want to stay and live like a local. They want local recommendation, local tips, local advice. So, I could have very easy, for those of you that live in the United Kingdom, you will know Sea Life Centre, right? It's a massive organization. They've got Sea Life Centre aquariums all over the United Kingdom. When I first asked where people go, a lot of them went to Sea Life Centre, right? But I didn't want to go to them. I wanted to support local businesses. So that's why I reached out to the local businesses, because A, they will massively appreciate you much more than if you drop a call into a big corporation. And B, you've got so much more wins and wins and wins and wins to get out of it. Another quick question. What if you feel like the market, oh, this is a great question for you, Sherja. What if you feel like the market in my area generally prices too low, and I am not sure that we want to price similarly because we may get guests that may not take care of our properties? That sounds weird, but ...
Very fair question. It definitely doesn't sound weird, because pricing is a combination of what the market tells you plus what makes sense for you operationally. If the prices in the market are too low and that doesn't make sense to you, there's 2 things that I'd recommend you do. One, maybe you want to adjust your base price slightly higher. And 2, definitely put in a minimum price that you definitely don't want to go below operationally. One thing that I would also recommend is, whenever you update your base price or your minimum price, go into the neighborhood data tab and see how your prices are as compared to the market. You may want to be slightly higher than the market, but not definitely priced way above or way below the market. So that's a quick thing that I would do if I were in your position. Don't have to price as low as the market if it doesn't make sense for you operationally. And Alina, sorry if I haven't gotten your name right. Again, if the prices are way too high for your market, I would recommend, again, dropping your base price and seeing not just how the prices are during the low season, but also during the high season. And so you want to make sure that the prices that you saw in previous months, in previous years, for your high season and low season, and the prices that you're seeing now with PriceLabs sort of make sense, right? So you don't want to be in a position where your low season prices for last year were, let's say, 100, and now it's 200 or it's like 50, right? So you don't want to be that far apart from what your benchmark was.
Amazing. We did it. 1 hour on the nose. Fantastic work, everybody. I just want to say, for everybody that's been in the chat, really well done. Great questions. Good to see some familiar faces. Good to see new faces. And I've just checked the calendar. There's been some calls being booked already, which is which is fantastic. So again, if you want to find out more about what we can do at Boostly to help you get to 65% direct bookings, go ahead and book that call, boostly.co.uk/call. I'm sure PriceLabs will email you out afterwards with the special rate for a PriceLabs, which is fantastic. And there'll be a copy of the recording as well. It won't be available instantly, but give us a while and we'll get it to you. If you have any follow-up questions, you know where to reach us and how to reach us. And if you want those free bonus tips, go onto Instagram, send me a DM, just say the word webinar, as I can see quite a lot of you have done already, which is great. And I look forward to chatting to you in the DMs. Joanne, Adrian, Beth, Dominique, Elena, Julie, PriceLabs, Shirja, thank you. This has been great. Now I've got to go do the school run. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. Bye.